government chemist for analysis. CCTV footage is yet to be taken to cybercrime for certification and production of the reports. Call data history of the suspects, mobile numbers, and that of the deceased are yet to be obtained. Next, registration number details of the motor vehicle KBU 507Y Toyota Hilux pickup are yet to be obtained from NTSA. Information necessary information from the Uganda Embassy on the deceased status prior to his death. The investigation is still ongoing, and it is in the best interest of justice that the respondents be held in custody for 21 days so as to facilitate comprehension of the investigation.
Away from that, residents of the Lele area, Kajiado Central, have every reason to smile after receiving New Year's food aid to celebrate with their communities. Those residents who grew up facing the challenges in climate change in this country due to the drought witnessed in several areas of Kajiado County. The residents are now saying that this aid measure will help them during this difficult time, mentioning that this year will grow with a greater diversity and better conditions, unlike last year's disasters.
Huku tukimshukuru Mungu kwa vile ametulinda mwaka jana. Ilikuwa ni mwaka wa magumu yake. Kulikuwa na kiangazi ambayo kilikithiri, lakini kwa yote tuko hapa kumshukuru Mungu. Ametusaidia, watu wetu wako salama, na hapa nimeamua leo nitasherehekea na watu wangu. Pia nimeandaa chakula ya kubeba kwa watu wangu wapate kwenda kusherehekea nyumbani pamoja na watoto wao.
Tunaburudika na chakula, kuna chakula tunakula na kuna msaada tunabeba. Kuna watu wengi wametoka Motoroki, kuna wengine wametoka Maparasha. Sasa tunafurahia kwa boma yake. Tunamwambia Mungu akubariki na kuongezee hiyo nguvu ambayo uko nayo tupate chakula.
Na nimepatia sisi sikukuu, na nimepatia msaada unga, na nimefurahia kabisa. Namwambia sasa sikae tena Nairobi, kuja sunguka kwa ndani ya Masai, uone mashida hiko, usaidia vile ataweza.
Kama naingia kidogo tuchukue picha alafu mrudi. Bro, twende hivi kidogo. Hata hapo tumalimu.
Now, President William Ruto, during the funeral ceremony of the father to the Nyandarua senator, expressed the concern of Kenyans for the threat of the leader of the opposition against resuming the protests, stating that now is the time for Kenyans to work. He referred more to investing in agriculture, saying more than 2 million sacks will reach the farmers if they take the right step to fight the cost of living to go down by production of food on a large scale. President Ruto has warned Kenyans not to be intimidated by the opposition wing and to avoid protests that are suspected to be restarted. Kiharu, Member of Parliament Ndindi Nyoro, also mentioned that the retired President Uhuru Kenyatta should not fund the protests that are not beneficial to Kenyans.
Waongee, wanetuambie mambo yao. Ile kitu mimi nataka niulize watu wa upinzani, tafadhali niwasaidie kwa mawazo. Badala ya kusumbua wananchi na kulete fujo na kulete vita, ambieni hawa wananchi mpango yenu tofauti na yetu ni gani? Yes, what is the alternative? Nyinyi, sisi tumesema tunataka tulipe ushuru, tuokoe Kenya kwa madeni. Nyinyi mtuambie yenu ni gani? Msituambie ati mnapanga ati vita, ati maandamano, ati kwenda kupiga kuharibu mali ya watu, ati kwenda kuumiza wananchi, ati kwenda kumwaga damu. Kumwaga damu, kuharibu biashara ya wananchi itaweza kusaidia Kenya kwa njia gani? Hiko njia itasaidia Kenya? So tuache kutishana, tuache vitisho. Tuache mambo ya, let us give us your viable alternative views if you have any. Lakini hii upinzani imeishiwa. Haina mpango yoyote. Ati ile mpango wako naye ni ya vita na maandamano. Look at them. Walibeba sufuria hapa wakati sisi tulikuwa shambani. Si ndio? Si walikuwa wanabeba masufuria kwa kichwa. Hii bei ya unga imekuja chini, imekuja kwa sababu watu walipaa sufuria. Si kwa sababu wakulima walienda shambani na wakapata mbolea. Na mimi nataka niwatangazie mbolea ya mwaka huu tayari tuko na magunia 1,200, ile magunia karibu 2,000,000 inakuja mwisho wa hii mwezi. Mkuwe tayari, turudi shambani, tulime, tuzalishe chakula, tuondoe aibu ya njaa. That is how we are going to sort out the cost of living. That is how we are going to sort out hunger in the Republic of Kenya. Tumeelewana jameni?
Mimi nataka niwaambie wamechelewa. Unajua 31st of December ilikuwa ile siku ya kuvuka mwaka. Waacha kutuambia wataleta maandamano 2024. Wamechelewa. Hata wangepanga moja ya kuvuka mwaka. Hakuna Wakenya wataendelea kutisha tena ati maneno ya maandamano. Mr. President, focus on your work. All these naysayers in opposition waendelee kufanya kazi yao ya checking government. Lakini maneno ya maandamano ya kuharibu mali ya wananchi, hiyo tumekataa kabisa. Na to the sponsor of those maandamano, who is the former president of this republic, tafadhali, Wakenya walikupea 10 years. 10 years ni heshima ya juu sana. Na mimi nasema hivi nikijua vile nasema. Hatusemi hii maneno to blame anyone. We are saying them because it's the reality.
Now, in Nandi County, some of the leaders of the Kenya Kwanza wing in the county, led by Governor Sang, have continued to criticize the leader of the opposition party, Raila Odinga, for what they called threats to restore the protests in the country. The leaders have said that there is no need to involve Kenyans in the protests, mentioning that so far the Kenyan government has first strengthened the national economy, saying that it is good for Raila to give President Ruto a chance to work for Kenyans and implement the promises he made during the campaign period, while urging Kenyans not to engage in any protests.
We know the whole globe is not doing well economically. Kenya as a country was not doing well when we took over. But this instability and chaos and disruption of businesses through demonstration worsened the situation for Kenya. And when we sat down and agreed that we go to Bomas of Kenya and have a discussion on bipartisan dialogue, the only discussion we expect from the opposition today is how do we implement the discussions that happened in Bomas.
Kwa nini asipatie nafasi president wetu afanye kazi? Tumelipa ile loan ilikuwa bei kali inaitwa Eurobond. Na maisha yetu inaenda kuwa mzuri. Kama alishindwa kwa meza kuongea kwa meza, unaenda kwa street kwenda kufanya nini kwa street? Mtakubali kwenda kwa street saa hii? Maisha iko ngumu. So hakuna haja sisi kwenda kwa street.
Now, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua visited the family of Sami Mwangi Gatumbo at their home in Chaka-Nyeri, who lost 6 people in a road accident last week after their car collided with a matatu on the Nyeri-Nyahururu road. Rigathi was accompanied by his wife, Pastor Dorcas Rigathi, and local leaders. Rigathi called on road users and relevant bodies to ensure safety in order to deal with accidents and deaths caused by the road. Still in the political scene, the leaders led by former MPs Jude Njomo, Kiambu and Peter Mwathi from Limuru claimed that some prominent people in the government have conspired to bring the party to its knees and finally end it. Jubilee is currently involved in a fierce leadership conflict with two factions claiming that they are honest officials. Already a large number of MPs have turned to obedience to Ruto, thus increasing the dominance of his coalition for the first time in a two-party parliament. Mwathi claimed that Jubilee has already set a detailed strategy, including holding a series of grassroots meetings to give strength to their party in Mount Kenya, something that has not pleased the party leaders.
That 24 can be a good year, but we need prudent leadership. We don't want people who keep on being escapists, saying that, oh, the economy is bad because there was the previous government did this or did that. This is not the first time the government is changing hands. When the government changed hands from President Moi to President Kibaki, it was the same situation. We did hear Kibaki going around here, they'll be crying that he has found empty coffers.
Kupata chakula imekuwa ni shida, kukula ni shida, watoto kusoma ni shida. Kama wakati huu watoto wanarudi shule, tunaona ugumu sana, sababu hata watu wengi hawajui watarudisha watoto shule aje. Lakini tuko na hofia ya kwamba serikali ikikubali kuweka mikakati ile inafaa, tunaweza kuwa na ubadilishaji wa mambo, na ya kwamba tutakuwa tukipata nafasi ya kujiweka, kujihudumu kibiashara hata manyumbani kwetu.
The Minister of Gender, Culture and Heritage, Aisha Jumwa, has launched a project to bring back girls who got pregnant while at school and those who could not continue their studies due to various challenges. 10 girls from different parts of Kilifi County have been given a second chance to go back to school. Minister Aisha Jumwa said she was once given a second chance to improve her life, and now she has decided it is time to give back to the community. The goal is to reach more girls across the country who face challenges after dropping out of school due to early pregnancy. Aisha indicated that her ministry will establish a special fund to help more girls. Leaders in the meeting, including the Member of Parliament for Likoni, Mishimboko, highlighted the importance of the minister's actions within the community.
Wengine wametekelezwa na jamii na wengine pia wamekosa matumaini ya kwamba wanaweza kurudi shule, lakini under Aisha Jumwa Foundation leo tumechukua wasichana 10 na tunawarudisha kufikia shule zikifunguliwa kuanzia tarehe 15 na tunawalipia shule ya fee ya mwaka mzima. Kwa hivyo wengine wamepata karibu wote nimewarudisha boarding schools kwa sababu wengi walikuwa wameitwa boarding school lakini hawakuweza, wakaenda shule za mitaa hapo. Mambo pia hayakuwa mazuri, wengine wakapata ujauzito wakajifungua wakakosa matumaini kabisa, lakini ukiangalia makatasi yao kuna matumaini kwamba wakipata nafasi kama hii wanaweza kuwa watu ambao wanaweza kutransform maisha ya watu wengine katika jamii yetu. Kwa hiyo na wasichana kama 50 ambao tumeshapanga mipango yao yote. Tumesema ama rais alisema katika serikali yetu ya Kenya Kwanza, wale watoto ambao ni young mothers na wako tayari kusoma, tayari katika wizara yangu yeye alitoa amri ya kwamba tuwe na mkakati na tutengeneze policy yani vipi hawa watoto wanaweza kurudishwa shule, na already kuna hiyo bursary scheme ambayo tunaifanyia kazi kwa wale watoto ambao walitoka shuleni kwa sababu ya kupata ujauzito. So it's a government policy. Wazazi wengi waniangalie, hata mimi mwenyewe Aisha Jumwa, ni kwamba kama mimi labda wazazi wangu wangenikataa wakati fulani ambapo nilikuwa napitia haya yote, labda leo nisingekuwa nimesimama hapa kama waziri katika taifa letu la Kenya. Kwa hivyo watu pia kuna vile tunasema, unaponiona mimi, unapomuona Mishi, wazazi pia waingie morali ya kwamba hata wasichana wao wanaweza kufika mahali sisi tumefikia.
And now we move on to news that are making headlines internationally. Japan was rocked on Monday by a powerful earthquake measuring a 7 on Japan's Shindo scale, which is the strongest rating, prompting tsunami warnings for the length of the country's western coast and inflicting widespread damage. Now, as promised, why is the country prone to earthquakes? Masinzilio has this answer in a well-detailed report.
For Japanese people, earthquakes are part of life. Japan experiences over 2,000 earthquakes a year, which is the most in the world. Japan is a home to the world's busiest seismic activity, while the majority of Japanese earthquakes are so minor that can be hardly felt. The Ring of the Fire is a 40,000-kilometer horseshoe-shaped trail that stretches around the Pacific Ocean. The Pacific Ring contains about 450 volcanoes, which is over 75% of the world's total. The ring starts in the southwest from New Zealand and winds right up through Indonesia directly under Japan, and then it veers east to Alaska and then runs all the way down the North and South America west coast. Within the Pacific Ring are 4 of the world's 7 tectonic plates, and Japan sits right on top of all of them. Japan lies either near or directly over the Pacific, North America, Eurasia, and the Filipino tectonic plates. The Pacific Plate broadly covers the southeastern region, encompassing South America and New Zealand. The Filipino Plate branches out from Southeast Asia and meets the Eurasian Plate, which spans across the northwestern Japan. The North America Plate lies near Alaska, then down the American western coast. Countries within this ring of fire, Japan, China, Indonesia, Peru, Chile, the US, and New Zealand, all record regular quakes and thermals. The tectonic plates are in a state of constant movement and move in different directions and at different speeds. When 2 plates converge, they can become locked, and this area is usually known as the fault line. When the plates are locked together and shifting, a tremendous amount of stress is created. A seismic shock is released, resulting in an earthquake. If this happens to take place under the ocean, it can lead to a tsunami. A powerful earthquake struck central Japan on Monday, destroying buildings, knocking out power to tens of thousands of homes, and prompting residents in some coastal areas to flee to higher ground. The quake, with a magnitude of 7.6, triggered waves of about 1 meter along Japan's west coast and neighboring South Korea. The Japan Meteorologist Agency, JMA, initially issued a major tsunami warning since the March of 2011 earthquake and tsunami that struck northeast Japan, killing nearly 20,000 people for Ishikawa. It later downgraded that and eventually cut it to an advisory. It was the strongest quake in the region in more than 4 decades. Masinzilo reporting for EBN TV.
Still, thank you very much, Masinzilo, for such a report. Still in Japan, Japan Airlines Passage plane burst into flames after landing and colliding with Coast Guard aircraft at Haneda Airport in Tokyo. All 379 passengers escaped the fire. However, 5 of the 6 crew of the Coast Guard aircraft have died. The Coast Guard said the collision involved one of its planes that was headed to Niigata Airport on Japan's west coast to deliver aid to those caught up in the powerful earthquake that struck on New Year's Day, killing at least 48 people at the time this report was made. Now, we're still in the Asian continent, sending all our love and apologies to those affected by the said earthquake. We are moving all the way to South Korea, where South Korea's opposition leader, who goes by the name of Lee Jae-myung, was stabbed. South Korea's the opposition leader was stabbed on the neck earlier today at a news conference in the southern port city of Busan. The attacker, who appeared to be a man in his 60s to 70s, approached Mr. Lee, lunging forward and stabbing him. The attacker was arrested at the scene and has been silent about both his identity and the motive for the attempted killing. And that marks the end of today's EBN News Prime Edition. My name is Consolata Chibalonza. Thank you very much for being with me from start to the finish line. I hope to see you tomorrow, should the Lord allow us to wake up to the new dawn. Until next time, God bless and have a good night.